Hi everyone, my name is Pamela. I'm an ACE certified personal trainer, and I'd like to share with you some wrist exercises. A lot of people realize quite quickly if they injure their wrist or have to have it wrapped up for a reason, or they have to use their wrist to prop themselves up or transfer themselves over, that they are very weak and that it hurts them a lot to keep using their wrists. So wrist health is actually very important even as we get older. So here are 3 exercises that you can do to keep you on that journey of stronger wrists. Now, I'm using these weights. I keep them in my car. They happen to be 4-pound weights. You can start this with maybe a ball, a hand, sometimes we have those balls to squeeze. Those are really good to have. So if you see any, even if it's a dog, a little dog ball that we're squeezing, but they sell those in different stores and, online where you can grip them, and that really helps with strengthening the wrist. But you can use bottles of water, or I would start with nothing at first and then go up from there. Of course, they sell 1-pound weights, 2-pound weights, even at the very, maybe at a Dollar Tree, but I know they do it like a Five Below store. So the first one I want to show you is that you're going to lay the back of your forearm. This is in a seated position, so I'm going to pretend we're seated because I'm standing out here by the river and there's not a rock big enough for me to sit on. All right, to pretend I'm seated, I'm going to lay my wrist on my thigh and just hang it over my knee. So I'm curling up and squeeze, up and squeeze, up and squeeze. Now, if you haven't done this, maybe you're not using your wrist as much as you used to. Maybe you can only do 2 or 3. That's fine. You only do 2 or 3. I guarantee you that will increase, and the more and the longer you do these. All right. So always try, don't just say, oh, I can do 2 and just stay at 2, but actually try to do maybe half of one. It's actually going to work. All right, now the next one, they're motorcycles. So once your hand is this way, we're going to flip it. This time, this part of the forearm is going to be over your thigh, and we're going to rev a motorcycle. Here we go. Now, that's a little more difficult. So if you can only do 2, that's okay. This is a lot harder than it looks. This is not something we do on a daily basis. We are not moving our wrists like this, unless, of course, you have a bike. But the third exercise, they're going to be little side to sides. Now, this is a very tiny movement. Don't expect a lot of movement out of this. Not necessary. We're just strengthening that movement, keeping the flexibility and mobility in the wrist. There you go. Honestly, you can do 4 of those. You're going to be fine. And maybe you can only start with 1, working up to about 4, and then rest. You're going to need rest in between these sets of wrist exercises. So say you put your weights by your chair, right? Wherever it is you're going to play on your computer, or you have your iPad, or you're going to watch a TV program. Put your weights right there. So when you do sit down, it reminds you that, oh, I'll just do a couple of these wrist exercises. It is when you're doing something else, but you're doing this, it's like a mindless activity, but it's going to really pay off when you need it. It takes no time at all because you're already sitting there doing something else. So you really don't need to carve out special time in your day to become stronger or stay stronger. Get mobility back or keep your mobility and flexibility, because you do not want to start losing that. And it's such a simple thing to do. It would be a shame that we're not just simply sitting down and doing it while we're doing something else. All right, it even feels good if you are someone who's on the phone all the time or texting, or you're typing on a computer. Maybe you have the office job that you're still, you have to do that for a long period of time during the day. These exercises are going to keep your wrists and your fingers and hands strong, because I know that takes a toll on you over the long run. I was a typist for a very long time, and I did have issues. I was starting to get carpal tunnel. I just started with doing these exercises in my daily routine, and I've never had an issue with them ever since. So that's just my own personal story. I can't guarantee that for anyone else, but I recommended them to myself and I take my advice. What can I say? All right, everyone, I hope you're having a beautiful day. It is gorgeous down here by the river. Of course, I've seen ducks and trains and, yes, the things they leave behind. So have a beautiful day and set those weights, or maybe bottles of water or little squeeze balls, by your chair, and start this routine now before we start gardening and pruning and planting. You really want to keep those wrists, get some more strength in there, keep the mobility and flexibility, because spring's almost here and we have a lot of things that we need to get finished and start. All right, everyone, see you later.